What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video here on B-Mills Wrestling. Obviously, we just had both nights of this year's SummerSlam, so for today's video, I'm going to be doing WWE hot takes, except it's going to be SummerSlam version, so all the hot takes are going to have to do with what we saw transpire at SummerSlam. If you guys aren't familiar with this series, I basically like to do it at least once a week, where I read your guys' hot takes either on X or on TikTok, and you guys can be a part of these videos if you go follow my TikTok. I'm going to link that in the description and pin it as the top comment. Make sure to go follow, and then you can be a part of the next one. Before we get into the video, if you guys are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new uploads, and don't forget to leave a like down below. Alright guys, let's get into the video. The first hot take that we have on here says, this is John Cena's best match of his retirement tour, and of his career, even up there with Cena Styles. This felt like we got Super Cena back, and the John Cena we all grew up with. What an amazing match, and what an amazing main event. Yeah, man, I totally agree with you. This was a main event for the ages. This is definitely one of John Cena's best matches of all time. I think it's top 3. I don't know if I would say that it can top the match with AJ Styles or the match he had with CM Punk at Money in the Bank 2011. I think it's top 3, though. I think that the AJ Styles match and the CM Punk match from Money in the Bank in 2011, I think those are his top 3 matches of all time. This was just such a fun match. And when you compare it to the WrestleMania match, I mean, it was just miles better. Like, being a street fight definitely helped because they were able to fight outside of the ring. They were able to use, obviously, the steel steps, right, and go fight into the audience, right, and use the ropes, right, throwing it back to the Umaga spot, like the turnbuckles that Cody Rhodes was using, fighting all over the arena. Like, they were able to use so much, go through the announce tables, go through tables. Like, when you're able to access all of that, like, you're bound to have a really good match. And the chemistry itself just looked a lot better in this match between these two. You could tell they really just wanted to put on a banger of a main event. Obviously, this was John Cena's last time as champion, his last match, defending it as champion. He wanted to have a really good match because a lot of his matches as a heel just were not as good, if we're being honest. Other than that CM Punk match at Night of Champions, he really hasn't had too many memorable matches during this retirement tour. But yeah, it was just super fun, and this is exactly what we needed, for the main event of SummerSlam. How do you cap off, the biggest show of the summer? You cap it off with a banger match like that, with nobody getting involved, right? No shenanigans, no run-ins like we're used to seeing in these main event, type matches. Like, we just got a one-on-one between two babyfaces, right? The top babyface right now with Cody Rhodes and the top babyface of this generation in John Cena, just going at it, beating the hell out of each other for a long-ass time. Like, this was just such a great match. There was never a part of this match where I was uninterested. I thought this absolutely did its job. It was such a fun match, and definitely John Cena's best match on this entire retirement tour, and in my opinion, a top 3 match of his of all time. The next one we have on here says, no words needed, and it's obviously the SummerSlam match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes being over the WrestleMania match between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. And man, I 100% agree. I think everybody in the world would agree with you. So this isn't really much of a hot take, but yeah, I just want to speak on this. Like, the fact is, WrestleMania 40, you have heel John Cena going against babyface Cody Rhodes, and they just didn't deliver. Like, the match just wasn't good. I don't know if that was done on purpose because John Cena was ruining wrestling. I know a lot of people were saying that. The match just absolutely sucked, and it was disappointing to see because John Cena made history. He won his 17th World Championship in his final year, right, as a heel, and it just didn't hit the spot. Like, it just didn't, make me feel a certain way. So, damn well they heard all the critics of that WrestleMania match because everyone is pissed off about it. And they wanted to put on an absolute classic at SummerSlam, and they absolutely did. This match was literally, like I said, top 3 John Cena match of all time. And probably, maybe match of the year. I know that there's been a lot of great matches in 2025, but I think this is maybe a match of the year candidate. I think it's just that damn good. Just super fun to see. I'm just so happy they got to redeem themselves because of how bad WrestleMania 41 was. And, like, this was a passing of the torch moment. You don't want to have a bad match in a passing of the torch moment, like between John Cena and Cody Rhodes. So I'm just so happy that they got to deliver. I know that John Cena was happy himself because he finally got to put on a great match as a babyface. He's just so much better in the ring as a babyface. You could tell him wrestling as a heel, he's just a little more confused. But, like, Cody Rhodes, I know that he definitely felt good after this, too, because he's used to putting on great matches, right? He rarely has a bad match. And WrestleMania 41, that was a bad match. And, to be able to redeem himself and, win back the championship and get that, that moment where John Cena hands him the title, passing the torch down, just super awesome. This match absolutely ruled. So happy. The next thing we have on here says, Who is Cody's next contender? Who is going to possibly dethrone him on that SmackDown roster? They booked themselves into a corner. I disagree with you. I think that there is great options on SmackDown right now. In Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. They're the two top guys who I think should dethrone Cody Rhodes on Friday Night SmackDown. And let's also not act like the brand split has been doing its thing. The brand split is non-existent. People from Raw are going to SmackDown. People from SmackDown are going to Raw. Take LA Knight, for example. Take John Cena, for example. Like, it doesn't matter. The brand split's not even a thing, so I wouldn't even worry about that. But like I said, as far as SmackDown goes, Drew McIntyre should 100% be next in line for Cody Rhodes' championship. And this doesn't have to be just a one match in Clash in Paris. No, this can be like a legit trilogy. They can have a legit great feud. Babyface Cody versus heel Drew. Like, we've been waiting for an actual feud. We've seen matches and maybe some segments, but we haven't had like the actual feud for the big title. And obviously, we just had a segment between these two not too long ago, before SummerSlam, until Randy Orton, got involved with Drew McIntyre setting up their match at SummerSlam against Logan Paul, and with Jelly Roll in the match or whatever. But I think that's definitely what's going to happen next for Cody Rhodes, because it just makes the most sense. Drew McIntyre is the top heel on SmackDown, and he deserves to go after the World Championship. The fact that he's been away from the world title picture for so long, and he's been doing his best work of his career these past couple years, they need to fix that. They need to put him back in the world title picture. He needs to feud with Cody Rhodes, get thrown back into the main event scene. I know that, he probably wouldn't beat Cody Rhodes, but I would never say never. I would not mind if Drew McIntyre was the one to dethrone Randy Orton, or Cody Rhodes. But speaking of Randy Orton, like I just said, Randy Orton's the other guy Cody Rhodes can feud with on this championship reign. I think that's the one everyone's looking forward to. Obviously, they had that match at Night of Champions where Cody beat Randy for the King of the Ring tournament. I think that a Randy Orton heel turn is definitely on the horizon. The way that, he was looking in disgust after Cody Rhodes won. I think they're just planting seeds. Like, don't forget when Cody Rhodes was WWE champion and the first time around, how many times they had Randy Orton look at the title, look at it funny, the words he was saying to Cody Rhodes. Like, obviously, they know they're going to do this at some point. I think that it could be a WrestleMania match, obviously. It could also be a Survivor Series or Royal Rumble match. No matter when they do this, heel Randy Orton versus babyface Cody Rhodes is absolutely going to cook, not only from an in-ring standpoint, just from the rivalry, because of their history, going back over a decade. I am super excited for that. So I think you're wrong on this. I don't think they booked themselves into the corner. I think they have two legitimate candidates on SmackDown who can dethrone Cody Rhodes in Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. The next one we have on here says, Dom beating AJ was the right call. Dom needs more time to get some defenses under his belt and even become a double champ. And a win against AJ solidifies his reign even more. I do 100% agree with you. I thought this match was very 50-50. I would have loved if AJ won. I would have loved if Dom won. And Dom obviously came out on top. Dom is one of my favorites in WWE right now. Obviously one of the young superstars that they have. I really love the character work that he's done over this past couple years. That win at WrestleMania 41 and the pop he got was just so awesome. His title reign before AJ Styles, though, was very disappointing, right? Like, there wasn't anything going on, and they weren't really showcasing the title. They were just showcasing everything else going on within the Judgment Day. Liv Morgan getting hurt, Roxanne Perez being added to the group. It wasn't really about Dom's title. But that feud with AJ Styles, it was very comedic, it was very funny, and it was just a great match overall. I thought the match was good. The way that Dom loosened his boots so AJ couldn't lock in the calf crusher, right, the Eddie Guerrero tribute. Like, it was a really fun storyline and fun match. And yeah, I want to see what Dom can do, going forward. A win versus AJ Styles, who's a future Hall of Famer. Like, that is huge for a young superstar like Dominic Mysterio. So I do agree. I want to see him now go on a really long reign. If AJ Styles wasn't going to be the one to dethrone him, I want Dom to hold this title, I don't want to say till WrestleMania 42, but I want him to hold it for a long time. I obviously think Finn Balor might be the top option to dethrone Dom. I'm not sure. But yeah, I want AJ to hold that title for a while. And, you said being a double champ, obviously the Triple A championship, he could win that in the pay-per-view that is coming up. Definitely, the pop he got when he made his way onto that show after unmasking himself, I think that he could be the top star over there if they gave him the championship. And 2 belts, Dom, that has a nice ring to it. I'm not going to lie. The next one we have on here says, Cena losing to Cody makes absolutely no sense, especially since Cody didn't turn. No one came out to help, and Cody is leaving to film for who knows how long. If there was one match that the champ needed to retain, it was this one. Now, don't get me wrong. I wanted John Cena to retain in this match because John Cena is my favorite superstar. I wanted him to retire with the title. But Cody Rhodes winning absolutely makes sense. Like, I would have also liked to heel Cody Rhodes to win this match. That's what I thought was going to happen. But I'm fine with babyface Cody winning because this is the passing of the torch moment. Like, it makes sense. Obviously, they couldn't pass the torch at WrestleMania because John Cena won his 17th championship. So they had to do it at some point because they're recreating, The Rock, passing the torch to Cena back at WrestleMania 29. And this is exactly what they did at SummerSlam, and they did it in a great way. Now, you're talking about Cody going and filming a movie. I'm sure they wouldn't have put the title on Cody if he wasn't going to be around that much. John Cena was filming movies the same time that he was champion. He filmed a ton of movies, and he made a decent amount of appearances and defended the title at every PLE. So I'm assuming they're going to do the same thing with Cody Rhodes. They wouldn't put the title on him if he wasn't going to show up, especially if he's a babyface. Babyface champions always show up, so there's no way that he's not showing up to defend his championship. I wouldn't even worry about that. The next one we have on here says, we need some type of match stipulation barring Solo's bloodline from a match. Solo and Jacob absolutely destroying each other in a cage could have been a banger, but instead it was probably the weakest match of the night. We don't need interference in every single match. I 100% agree with you. This was the weakest match maybe of both nights. This match absolutely sucked. It was way too short, and yeah, like the MFTs getting involved was just so boring and repetitive. I would have also loved Solo and Jacob to just go at each other for 15, 20 minutes in a steel cage. That would have been awesome to see them destroy each other. Maybe a little blood comes out. But no, that just wasn't that. The steel cage match just didn't feel important. It didn't feel like we were going to get anything huge. Like, we didn't get anything huge. Like, we didn't get Jacob Fatu doing a moonsault from the top of the cage until after the match was over, right? Like, he could have hit Solo with that in the match. But yeah, just the MFTs getting involved. It's the same old stuff. Like, I thought maybe a Tama Tonga return was going to happen. That didn't happen. It just didn't feel important. I 100% agree. I would have rather them just did a one-on-one match with no interference in a steel cage. After all, it is the steel cage. It's supposed to keep members out, right? But yeah, of course they were going to get the MFTs involved. I just wish we would got a clean one-on-one between Jacob and Solo, even if that was with Solo still retaining the title. Like, I would have been perfectly fine with that. If this storyline continues, I hope that they do a match like that because, yeah, it is the same old stuff and it is getting boring. The next one we have on here says, SmackDown might have one of, if not the best tag division in all of wrestling. Raw needs to have some kind of massive tag showcase style match. SmackDown has the formula. Forget the goofy story. Just go out there and kill each other for the belt. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Obviously, SmackDown has the best tag division in the world by a million miles. It's not even close. The way that they're all intertwined with each other. And on top of that, they're all amazing tag teams with great chemistry and great in-ring work. Like, yeah, they're always showcased on TV. Like, there's never a week of SmackDown where they're not showcased. Monday Night Raw, we don't see tag teams for weeks. We don't even have that many tag teams, like legitimate tag teams over on Raw. It's just boring. They don't know how to book over there, and I don't understand why they can't just do what they're doing with the SmackDown tag division. Like, you have, the Creed brothers, the War Raiders, the New Day, right, who aren't as exciting as the guys we have on SmackDown, or like as electrifying, but like you could still intertwine them all, LWO as well, and obviously Judgment Day, they're the current champions, and have them have these type of matches, like the ladder matches, have them all intertwined with each other, but they just don't do that. Instead, they do commercials, advertising for Papa John's Pizza, who's getting the last slice. Like, it's just, I don't know, they're kind of like shooting themselves in the foot with this tag division. Like, they're not even like trying. It seems like they're going to start trying with the women's tag division, and SmackDown, obviously they've been trying with that for a while. I don't know why they just won't book the Raw tag division, how it's supposed to be booked. Hopefully that can start soon, but at this point, I don't even care anymore. The next one we have on here says, Sammy Kross could have been on Raw, and it sure looks like Kross is gone. I agree with you on both parts of your statement. I think that Sammy and Kross definitely could have been on an episode of Raw. This match sucked. It was way too short. There was no stipulation. No one cared to see a trilogy between these two guys with no title on the line, no stipulation, really no stakes at all. I don't understand this. Like, this was absolutely not needed for SummerSlam. We could have gotten anything else I would have been fine with. This was just plain and simple boring and not a good match. And, you saying Kross is likely gone, I agree. I think if he was going to get re-signed by the company, I think he would have won this match. And I think maybe it would have led to a Sammy heel turn, right? Or just continuing to build that heel turn up. But yeah, I think that he's gone. There was, I think, we want Kross chants in the post-conference as well. And then Triple H was saying that they were saying we want Brock. I'm not sure. Maybe they were saying we want Brock. I don't want to, confirm that. But yeah, it does seem like they're just trying to not really talk about Kross too much. And that they're, looking to just see him on his way out, right? I don't think they want to re-sign him. I know they did just promote his new book, though. I did see that somewhere. So that tells me that maybe he's going to get re-signed. I don't know why you would promote somebody's book if they're going to get, if they're going to leave the company and not get re-signed. within the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure when exactly his contract expires, but this sure did feel like the final match of Karrion Kross. The next one we have on here says, Seth Rollins cashing in. I hate it, but still appreciate it. Damn it. Yeah, I mean, as a long CM Punk fan, ever since I've been a wrestling fan, it sucked. You know, he won the world title for the first time in like 5,000 days, I think it was, over 12 years. And just to see his moment get spoiled like that, it was heartbreaking. Like, it was so cool to see him hold that title, the emotions, you know, in his face. And then, you know, you hear Seth Rollins' music hit. And don't get me wrong, this was unbelievable. Like, Seth Rollins coming out and, you know, cashing in on CM Punk, that was unbelievable. Like, that was literally probably the greatest cash-in of all time. Seth Rollins now owns the 2 greatest cash-ins of all time, and I don't think that it's up for debate. The WrestleMania cash-in, the heist of the century, and now you have, whether you want to call it the ruse of the century or the heist of the summer, whatever you want to call it, he owns the 2 greatest cash-ins of all time, and it's not close. This was a crazy moment. It was needed, I guess, because, you know, Seth Rollins said CM Punk's never going to hold a world championship as long as he is breathing and within the company. He stayed true to his word, right? Like, CM Punk's not a champion because of Seth Rollins. You know, obviously, they can still continue to do this storyline. CM Punk might be the one to win back the title from Seth Rollins. I'm not too sure. But either way, it's a bittersweet moment because I do like Seth. And this whole fake injury, you know, ruse and the cash-in itself was just awesome. But, like, it just sucks to see CM Punk lose the title after 5 minutes. The next one and final one we have on here says, Brock will officially retire after his feud with Cena. I could see this, but I also don't think that it's going to be true. SummerSlam next year is in his hometown of Minneapolis. I think that's where Brock Lesnar is going to retire because I think that there is still a couple of dream matches for him in WWE before he calls it quits, before he retires. Obviously, John Cena, that's not a dream match because we've seen it so much. But I think, you know, if you're going to do John Cena's greatest opponents, you know, during his final year, his retirement tour, Brock Lesnar definitely has to be in there 100%. I am excited to see that because I don't know. Like, this is Brock's first match back. Is he going to lose to Cena? Is it going to still be Super Cena, right, that we saw at SummerSlam? Or is John Cena going to start losing now because he lost the title? I'm not too sure, but I am interested. But as for Brock, this being his last feud, I don't think so. I think that this will be probably a one-off between Brock and Cena. But I think, you know, with WrestleMania 42 in April, I think you could do a Brock Lesnar versus Gunther. I also think you could do a Brock Lesnar versus a Braun Breaker. In my opinion, those are the 2 big money matches for Brock Lesnar before he retires from WWE. Those are the 2 I want to see. And then I'm satisfied. Brock versus Gunther, and then Brock versus Braun. Now, maybe you do Brock versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Maybe Brock goes back to being a babyface because I truly just don't see Gunther being the babyface. And then as far as SummerSlam, his final match, maybe, perhaps, in his hometown of Minneapolis, maybe a world Braun Breaker is the world heavyweight champion because he beat Seth Rollins. Just throwing that idea out there. And then you get Braun Breaker versus Brock Lesnar in Brock's retirement match in his hometown for the world title. Tell me that wouldn't cook. I think I'm cooking right there. So, as for him retiring after this feud with Cena, I could see it, but I also just think that it shouldn't happen, especially with SummerSlam next year, like I said, being in his hometown. I think that he should at least have one more year before he retires and have these dream matches that are set up for him. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up down below. Don't forget to comment down below what future videos you guys want to see from me. Alright guys, peace.